engineering courses, we have the English learning in the computer application courses, and we have the English learning even in the management courses, because in whole or in one word, I must say here that English learning is very much, we can say, it is very important, or we can say it is, one cannot escape from this type of linguistic proficiency of English in present time. Today itself in morning, our Chancellor sir, he addressed in meeting. So he also pointed out the same information, that how English is very much important in present time to have connectivity with everyone. Okay, and definitely it is very much important for the professionals at present. Okay, why? Because see, English is the language which is commonly used, we can say, in all parts of this world, at all the workplaces. Okay, somewhere it is part of the social communication also, but if we talk about the workplace communication, okay, then we have to accept this particular fact, that it is used at each and every level, and it is used in all areas of this world. Okay, so this is how one has to work for the proficiency level of English. Okay, and for that reason, English learning has been included in various formal courses of the formal learning of Indian education system. Okay, so we need to accept this particular fact, and we need to move on for the further application part of this particular point. So, as in the previous session itself, I pointed out that what are the various basic skills of English one has to practice in all the formal learning, so that one can have that competency level for the professional place as well as for the social place, to use that language in an appropriate manner. Okay, so I'll just in a brief time just revise all those points in the sorry, I'll revise the points of basic English skills which I discussed in the previous session, because many of the students were not present as those are present today in the previous session. So let them have a connectivity with the topic, and further we will discuss one by one about all the basic skills. So see, this English learning session for the new entrants, it will be divided in two sessions. The first session is taken by me. I am Dr. Snelita Dhaka, Associate Professor, University of Engineering and Management. And the other session will be taken by Ms. Neha Meena. She is Assistant Professor in University of Engineering and Management. So the session will be dealt by two people, and in that sequence, let me just give you a brief look of the previous discussion or the previous discussed topics. So just I'm sharing some content with you people. Sorry, 1 minute, please. Yes, Ayan, please do not click present now because it is creating.
Ayan, actually you are presenting. Ayan Corner. Please don't present. You have to join again.
Ayan,
You entered again. Ayan, hello.
yes, Ayan, are you able to listen? Ayan,
Ayan, join again.
please leave the meeting and join again. Hello? Yes, see, please follow the instructions. Students, you do not click the present now icon. Okay, you please do not click that because it will create interruption.
Okay, ma'am. Now you try. Now you can try, ma'am.
So yes, is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am. It is visible. Yes, ma'am. It is visible.
Okay, fine. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So students, please have a look that we discussed in the previous session about 36 English skills, or we can say the complete English learning is divided in all these 5 parts. So in that sequence, the very first basic skill one has to exercise with, that is vocabulary skills, and the second one is the grammatical skills, the third one is the comprehension skills, and fourth one is composition skills, and the fifth one, and again it is very important one, let it be it is coming or I have placed that at the fifth position, but it is again very much important in present time, that is phonetic skills. Okay, and I'll quickly make you recall what all points I discussed about all these basic skills. The vocabulary skills, that is all about the various existing words of English language a person can use. Okay, as we are discussing the linguistic skills in terms of English language, so definitely we are concerned about the all words from the existing category of English language a person can use, that is the vocabulary skills. Okay, and see, vocabulary skill, that is related to a person's capacity of using certain words of a language that we need to understand. And the second skill I was talking about, that is the grammatical skills. See, the grammatical skills include all those settled information, or the we can say the settled rules which provides us guideline, or which we can say that provides us a framework of correct expression in English language. Okay, so definitely one has to go through all those rules, all those settled frameworks, so that one can have expertise or one can make more and more effectivity in the correct expression in English. Okay, because that is again very much important. It hardly matters whatever large or heavy words we are using. Okay, if those are not correctly placed, if those are not correctly used, those are not arranged in a particular sequence, okay, that is not going to help us. Okay, or it is not going to create any impact. So it has to be arranged in a systematic order so that the meaningful content could be developed and it could be delivered. So for that reason, we have to learn the grammatical skills. Now the next skill is the comprehension skills. As in the previous session itself, I pointed out that each and every language has its own comprehension level. Okay, and that comprehension level is decided or it is developed through the cultural or the social background of that language. Okay, or we can say it is backed, that comprehension level is backed by the cultural and the social aspect. Okay, so one has to understand and one must know about that social and cultural background of the language, and in those, we can say in those in that periphery itself, one has to comprehend the text written in a particular language. Suppose it is written in English language, then we must have certain level of knowledge of the social and cultural background of English language. Then only we can comprehend that particular text accurately or correctly. Otherwise, we can say we can deviate from the context, or one can deviate from the context, or we can say there could be some hurdle in the communication process. So again, this is termed as a skill because it requires rigorous practice, rigorous expertise. Then only one can efficiently perform this. Now the next skill I was talking about, that is composition skills. Okay, it is again a very important, we can say, aspect of a language. If one person is writing something or developing some content in a particular language, that has to be correctly developed. Okay, and it could be only developed when the previous skills which we discussed, vocabulary skills, grammatical skills, comprehension skills, okay, one has the certain competent level of all these skills, then only one can go for the composition skills exercise in a language. Okay, so all these skills in one manner we can say these are interdependable or interconnected, but definitely this is a specific, we can say, a specific category because it is a certain advanced step of the previous skills. Okay, now suppose one has to make a development of his or her own. For that, one will require composition skills. Okay, so it has its certain rules, it has its certain arrangement in a particular language. So we have to definitely learn that level in English language so that one can or we can develop effective compositions. Okay, it is related to written and oral communication both. And the last one and the very important one, that is phonetic skills. That is, we can say, phonetics, as I pointed out in the previous class itself, phonetics is about the sound system of a language, because most of the time the communication happens through sounds. At present also, whatever you are able to see on the screen, okay, that is part of written communication. Okay, but whatever you are hearing, whatever you are listening, that is the sound you are listening, that is the sound you are hearing. Okay, so again, that is very much important in language skills category. So one has to be competent enough to speak correctly or to produce correct sound. Okay, so all these informations are part of phonetic skills. Okay, this we need to definitely learn and we need to practice so that whenever we are in a situation of speaking, okay, we must speak effectively. Okay, or one must speak effectively. So that is a state of learning all these basic skills of English language so that we can perform our work effectively. Fine. Now, let us talk about, in this session, I'll be dealing with the vocabulary skills. We'll start with the first skill of English language, okay, that is vocabulary skill. Okay, in the previous session also, if you remember, I talked about one of the, we can say, very important difficulty level of all persons who are using English as a second language at their place, okay, in terms of words. So what do we mean by that difficulty level? This means that one does not have the appropriate words of that language in his or her mind so that one can say about the information. Okay, so that is part of vocabulary skill. Okay, so we can say that the very important hesitation level of people to speak English is having the words in the mind to say about a certain information. So how these words will be, we can say, how these words will be coming to our mind. Okay, so one need to practice to remember or to learn or to develop these words of English language so that one can speak or one can use them effectively. Okay, so see, as I earlier also mentioned, that if one has sufficient number of word information in we can say in his or her capacity, okay, then one hesitates less. Okay.
Excuse me, madam.
Yes.
Madam,
Yes.
excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, screen is not stable actually. It is blinking. Whatever you are presenting right now, it is blinking.
It is blinking, sir.
Yes,
Sir,
yes, yes.
let me see.
Again, see, in the after every 2 seconds or 3 seconds, it goes black.
So maybe there is a problem of internet here. Okay, because many a time it happens here.
Okay. So can you do one thing? You again start presenting. Means you first you again present the same thing.
Okay, fine, sir. Fine, sir. Fine, sir.
You
Let
please
me try.
try if it works.
Let me
Yeah.
try.
Okay. Means now your video is perfectly okay, but when you are presenting the screen, then it is blinking.
Now, sir? Is it okay now, sir?
No, again it is started blinking. Yeah, you continue, please. You continue. Continue.
Is it okay now? Is it okay, sir?
Yeah, now it is okay. It's okay. Now it's okay.
Fine, sir. Fine, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir. So let us start now again. I was talking about the vocabulary skills, which are very much important for the linguistic proficiency. And if we relate this particular point with English language, then definitely one has to have sound vocabulary skills so that one can be effective in English communication. So in that sequence, I'll take 3 points. The first point, how to develop vocabulary. See, all the informations here I'm relating with English language. So definitely when I'm talking about vocabulary skills, I'm talking about the English vocabulary skills. And the first point I have mentioned here, that is how to develop English vocabulary. Okay, this is the very first point one need to exercise, that how to develop English vocabulary. I'll take one by one all these points. Now the second point is how to extend the English vocabulary. And the third point is what are the various components of English vocabulary. So all these 3 points we need to cover in the vocabulary skills. Okay, and we have to relate all these with English language only. So the first point I'll take here, that is how to develop English vocabulary. Okay, how one can develop that vocabulary. So before that, let us be very clear about the terminology vocabulary. Okay, what do we mean by vocabulary? Vocabulary means a person's capacity of using words of a language. Okay, so it is a person's capacity. It is not the all existing words of a language. Vocabulary does not mean the all existing words of a language or English language. If we connect it with English language, then definitely that is the point. Vocabulary means how many words of English language a person can use in his or her day-to-day communication process. Okay, so how one can develop that vocabulary of English? By reading, by listening, by writing, by speaking. Okay, so see, first point, as I mentioned here, that is reading. So if one does not read any text in a particular language, one will not be in a state to have the knowledge of the words of English language. Okay, if you go through a certain text in English, definitely you will become familiar with English words. Okay, so reading is a very important medium of developing vocabulary in English. Okay, if you are reading in English, then only you will be familiar with the English words. If you are not reading in English, then you will not be familiar with English words. That is the point. Now the next point, that is listening. Now again, as earlier also I mentioned, that some of the information you are able to read as I'm placing on screen, but some of the information you are receiving through listening or hearing. Okay, so if one is not listening the English sounds, if one is not hearing the English sounds at all, one cannot develop or one cannot have the information of English words or their sound system. Okay, although the sound system is of the separate category, but I am including here because that is also part of word only. So that is the point. So this is again a very important medium of developing English vocabulary. If you listen to English sounds, if you listen to English words, if you do not listen, you will not be you will not be ever able to have the information of English words. So sometimes when we read, we develop the English vocabulary. Sometimes when we listen to the English words or sounds, then we remember those English words or sounds. Okay, so that is how we develop English vocabulary. Now the next point, as I mentioned here, that is writing. Okay, so see, reading, listening, that is not that much, we can say, creative, because already it is provided. Okay, so that is not that of that level step to develop a vocabulary in a language. Okay, so if a person himself or herself indulges in writing exercise, then definitely it helps a person to develop his or her own vocabulary in a particular language. Okay, because on based of the previous learning in form of reading, listening, observing, okay, there are certain words of English language which stays in his or her memory, and with that, if the person is able to write, okay, again it is very much effective to develop vocabulary or to confirm the learning of the English vocabulary. Okay, that is, if we can say, a little bit advanced step of developing English vocabulary. Okay, or confirming the English vocabulary of a person. Now the next step, that is speaking. Okay, so one has read something, the words are there in his or her memory. One has listened something or had listened something. Okay, again the words are there in the memories, and one has sometime used certain words of English language, okay, in writing. Okay, so again it becomes permanent in terms of that person's English vocabulary skills. Okay, so if with the help of all these words, okay, if the person tries to speak, okay, and we can say tries to use in oral medium, okay, that again confirms and increases the vocabulary of English language. Okay, so these are, we can say, the various basic steps one can develop his or her own vocabulary in English language by reading, continue reading. See, students, you please think of many a time English teachers, Hindi teachers are always pointing out to you, please read newspapers, please read magazines, please read this text, okay, then come to the class. Why? The reason behind that, you can become familiar with the words. Okay, that is what development means here. Okay, so you can become familiar, you can memorize certain words, so that will help you to connect with the text or to comprehend the text effectively. Okay, and even many of the language teachers all the time in the classes are requesting or are pointing out that you please listen to English sound. You please listen to a certain language sound so that you can know the pronunciation, you can know the sound system, okay, you can know the words, okay. So that is again a thing. And many a times you are given with the task of writing something, okay. Maybe next week I'll also give you a task of writing. Even I will give you a task of listening. Even I will give you a task of reading, okay. And I'll be placing certain questions for you of vocabulary itself. Okay, we will do that task in the next session. And whatever we are discussing today, you please go through all the points, okay, and be prepared for the next session of next week. Even the speaking task, okay, that helps a person to know the language, okay. So this is how one can develop vocabulary in English language by following all these basic steps. Now the next question we have to, or the next point we have to handle with how to, sorry, there is some error in the title, how to extend vocabulary. You have to read in this particular sequence, how to extend vocabulary. Okay. Once you are familiar with certain numbers of words of English language, okay, that is okay. But that is not the end. One has to keep on progressing, okay, one has to keep on increasing day by day. So for that, the next step the person needs to follow, that is the first step I'll suggest here, that is learn words in context. Okay, so this is how again a very effective medium of extending the vocabulary. See, developing vocabulary and extending vocabulary, these are totally different aspects. Okay, so we are now talking about the extension. So that extension can be done through learning the words in a specific context. Okay, so what does this mean? That now words are to be connected, okay, for a certain context. I think you all will agree with this particular point, that even a single word in English language is used in various contexts, okay, or it is part of various parts of speech. For example, the word fast, okay, fast is noun also, fast is used as noun also, okay. So noun is a context, fast is used as adverb also, okay. So that is also a specific context. And fast is also considered as verb also, okay. So this is how also the vocabulary extension happens, when we are connecting words to a specific situation. See, context here means a situation, okay. context को आप situation से relate कर सकते हो यहाँ पे, ठीक है. So that is the point कि एक situation से आप एक वर्ड को कनेक्ट करेंगे तो उसका मीनिंग चेंज हो जाएगा. जब आप फास्ट को नाउन के फॉर्म में यूज करेंगे तो एक डिफरेंट सिचुएशन होगी, और जब आप फास्ट को एडवर्ब के सिचुएशन में यूज करोगे तो डिफरेंट मीनिंग होगा, ठीक है. और जब फास्ट को आप वर्ब के सिचुएशन में यूज करोगे तो उसका एक डिफरेंट मीनिंग डेवलप होगा, ठीक है, तो if likewise we can extend vocabulary. Okay, is it okay? Is my voice audible? Hello students.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay, fine. Okay, are you getting my points, what I
Yeah.
want to say? Okay, fine, good. Now the next point of vocabulary extension is developing vocabulary cards. Okay, see this, although this particular step is for the very we can say the very young stage, okay, or we can say that it is up to, it should be exercised up to school level, okay, in a rigorous manner. Up to school level, this particular step should be exercised rigorously. Okay, so when one enters into higher education, okay, one is very much comfortable in a particular language. Okay, because scientifically also it is proved or it is studied that the young stage is the appropriate stage of language learning. Okay, or one is very much speedy. Okay, one learns speedily a language. Okay, it is scientifically proven. So this particular step has to be, it is my suggestion or it is my opinion I am saying here. Okay, although learning never ever stops, even when one person grows, okay, up to elderly level, we can say, then also one can learn. Okay, but we are talking about the speedy learning or this speedy grasping power, so that happens at a young stage. Okay, it happens we can say spontaneously, instantly it happens. Okay, many a time even we do not know, consciously or unconsciously, we have learned so many words of different languages. Okay, so that is the point. So what the point I want to make here, that is, one, if one is not that much comfortable in a second language, what one can do is one can develop his or her own vocabulary cards. Okay, in relation to contexts, in relation to uses. Okay, so that again helps a person for the extension of vocabulary. How it will happen? Suppose already the person has developed the vocabulary cards. Okay, the words are already there. So if that particular person comes to know about some new words in relation to that context, in relation to that we can say that category of words, okay, then one can know those words also in that. So whenever the person is revising those cards, one will definitely be very much benefited. Okay, so this is how the extension will happen. So how these cards will be prepared? One has to do the exercise that whatever the person knows, okay, that one has to write first, note down first, and then whatever new the person comes across, that has to immediately note it down in that. So whenever the person revises, okay, the person is in a comfortable state, okay, or learns or extends his or her vocabulary of that language. Now the next step I was referring here, that is read extensively. What do we mean by read extensively? Anybody from students, please answer this. What do we mean by read extensively? Hello? Yes, anybody can answer from students, right? If you know, quickly say yes or no. No one is going to answer this? Reading? Yes, somebody is answering. Extensively means thoroughly, in detail. Okay, so many a time, see, you may note down here, okay, that you may just observe or note down here that many a time when you are doing the newspaper reading, okay, some of the informations you just quickly check the headlines, check the starting sentences and the ending sentences, and you just conclude with a particular information that this might be the information or this is the information. Okay, this is how you decide that this is the information. But some of the informations in newspapers, you go word to word and you try to with certain information. That is the exercise of reading extensively. Okay, when one indulges in the exercise of going through word to word seriously, okay, that is extensive reading. That means extensive reading. When a person seriously reads each and every details of that information. Even the person attains the information of punctuation marks, even the person attains the information of what word has been used, even the person attains the information of the grammatical structure of that information. Okay, this is termed as extensive. Okay, each and every detail is minutely studied by a person. So this exercise also helps a person to make an extension of the English vocabulary if the text is in English language. Okay, why? The reason behind that, maybe many of the words he never ever read, okay, earlier, or he never paid attention. He never paid that much attention to those words. But now, when the person is involved in extensive reading, as the person is doing some serious affair, some serious work, so in that context, the person now learns and memorizes those words forever. Okay, so this is how again vocabulary extension happens in English language by reading extensively. Okay, so this also helps a person to extend the vocabulary. Okay, now the last point here in this step itself, that is distinguish between formal and informal words. See, the word distinguish here means making difference.
Excuse me,
Yes,
ma'am.
yes.
Excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am, present your PPT again.
Okay, fine, sir. Fine. Is it okay?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes.
Is it okay now, sir?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Yes, students, are you able to see all the informations on screen? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, fine, fine. So the last point for the vocabulary extension we were discussing, that was distinguish between formal and informal words. Okay, so again it is part of vocabulary extension, because again it is a specific task one performs. Okay, what does this mean? That the person is able to identify the formal terminologies and informal terminologies. Okay, or the person is in a state to distinguish or to make a difference between formal and informal words. Okay, see students, you please remember, if you have done the letter writing exercises up to school level, see, for the formal letters, particularly for the applications, okay, and the applications which you write for various purposes, okay, at school level, we can say at school level, okay, for in school itself, or definitely you will continue with the work also in colleges, even in university. So see, in that sequence, I'll point out one point here. For the subscription, there is a step in letter writing, subscription. I'll just point out what subscription is. Subscription means you write yours faithfully, yours sincerely. Okay, that is the subscription step of a letter. Okay, so see, you might have been practicing that in applications as a student, if you are writing to some higher authority of the school or the college, okay, you cannot write yours sincerely for subscription, okay, because that is very much informal in the student's context. Okay, what then student must write? Either yours faithfully, yours obediently. Okay, these are the formal subscriptions the student is supposed to write in applications. Okay, so if one has that knowledge, then only one can practice. If the person does not have that knowledge, okay, one can be careless to write even yours sincerely. Okay, I'm talking in relation to students' status. Okay, so if the authority is quite competent, and if the authority pays attention to all these steps, okay, the authority can point out that error, okay, or it does not create that impact, okay, even it questions the learning. Clear? So if the student has that knowledge, if the student has that we can say competency level of making difference between the formal and the informal words, okay, the student will never ever do this practice. Okay, the student will be very much careful, or the person will be very much careful about all these situations of using formal or informal words. Okay, there are we can say there is a long list of examples of certain type of things. I'll one by one I'll share in the further classes. Okay, I'll explain more about all these points in detail. But here I'm just giving you the hint that in all these frameworks we will do the English learning. Okay, or now you have to do your English learning within this framework. Okay, that is the point. Now, in a quick moment, I'll revise all the methods of the general methods of vocabulary extension one can follow. Okay, learning words in context, developing vocabulary cards, reading extensively, and the state of difference between formal and informal words. Okay, so see, this last point again, I am giving you one more example. I was having in my mind, so I'm sharing here. See, when you do the report writing, okay, many a times your teacher or you yourself think of that you have to use certain words. Okay, you cannot be casual enough for writing any of the word for report writing. And suppose that report is some project report, some proposal report, okay, then you have to be quite careful. You check many a time a dictionary, you go for another word, you go for another word, okay. So that is how you learn and you extend the vocabulary, okay. So that is the thing. Now, the next point we have to check, that is what are the various components of vocabulary in English language. Okay, definitely we have to relate all these points with English language. So what are the various components which we can consider as vocabulary, okay, or part of vocabulary? So in that sequence, it is the first one is word formation. Okay, that is the, we can say, very important component of vocabulary. Okay, how words are formed, which were the basic words of English language. And see, one point you please check here, that whatever number till now we are observing in English language, okay, or are existing in English language, okay, those all were not there from the very origin date of this language. Okay, only a few words were there at that initial state, and later on the development happened in vocabulary of English. Okay, so in that sequence, many of the new words were formed, those were added. Okay, so that all comes into this category, word formation. Okay, now the next one is synonyms. You might have read at earlier level of your learning, formal learning, about synonyms. What are synonyms? Yes,
Having the same meaning.
yes, yes. This is Divya.
Yes, ma'am.
Divya speaking. Divya, I remember your sound.
Yes,
Huh?
ma'am, it's me. Yes,
How are you?
I'm fine, ma'am.
Fine, good. Okay.
Yes,
So, is the session okay today?
yes, it's perfect.
Fine, thank you.
You're
Okay.
welcome, ma'am. Okay.
Okay. The next one, the next component of vocabulary is the antonyms. Okay. Antonyms, again, you have learned continually at all levels of formal learning. Those are opposite words. Okay. And the next one, substitutes. Okay. Substitutes, maybe it is a confusing situation for you people, but do not get confused. You might have done certain exercise of one word substitution in English. Okay, so that is the same. Substitutes means the replacing words. Okay, so in place of a long sentence, if you are able to just write one word to say the same information, that is also a very important component of vocabulary. Okay, and the next one is homophones. Homophones, maybe it is a new term for many of the students, not all students, maybe some of you are knowing, but maybe it is new for many of you. Homophones means there are certain sounds, there are certain words in English, okay, those are having certain level of resemblance at sound level, okay, but they have the structural differences, they have the contextual differences. Okay, for example, sun and sun. Okay, the sound is same. You all students, you all please write the spelling of two words. One is SON and the other one is SUN. The first one is SON and the second one is SUN. So are they same or they are different?
Different.
Different. So what is the meaning of SON?
Sun.
Sun means
Beta.
beta, a familial relation. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. And what about other sun? SUN?
Suraj.
Suraj.
हाँ जी.
Celestial body. Okay.
Hmm.
Celestial body. It is a celestial body. Okay. So these are two different informations. Okay. But the sound is same. There
Means
is a difference in structure also. Structure I mean to say here spelling. Okay. SON and SUN. There is a structural difference and there is a contextual difference. One is the familial relationship, okay, and the other one is celestial body.
means
Okay,
it's pronounced the
sound is
same as
same.
another word.
Yes, yes, but the sound is same.
Okay.
Okay, so one must have that knowledge of homophones in English language also. Then only one can use this language efficiently. Okay, so I'm just revising in a quick moment all the important components of English vocabulary. Those are the word formations, synonyms, antonyms, substitutes, homophones. See, there are certain more categories, etc. You can even add more to this list. Okay, when we will discuss in detail about all these points. Okay, we will take all those categories also. So with this, I'm concluding this session today here itself. Uh,
Good afternoon, ma'am. I'm here.
Good noon. Is it some student or Neha?
Neha, ma'am.
Okay, Neha. Sorry, Neha. Okay, fine. With this, I'll conclude here. And now, Miss Neha Meena, she will take over the session. So today we just discussed about certain points of vocabulary skills. The first point we discussed about how to develop vocabulary. The second point we discussed how to extend vocabulary in English language. And the third point we discussed that what are the various basic components of English vocabulary. Okay, so students, I expect that all of you will check all these points. Okay, and whenever we are meeting next time on next Tuesday, okay, we will have some exercises related to all these points. Okay, you have to actively participate and you have to, we can say, you have to give me an impression that you learned a lot. Okay, with this, thank you all. And now I request Neha to continue with the session. Neha,
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
please
ma'am.
take
Yes,
over
ma'am.
the session and ending here.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Hello and good afternoon, everyone. This is Neha Meena from University of Engineering and Management, Jaipur, and this is our first class together. Today, we are going to talk about a few basic things that we have learned throughout our school, uh, uh, the basics of grammar. So, the first topic that we are going to talk about is parts of speech. So, in a second, I'll be sharing the PPT with you. There's some connection internet problem. So, okay, if you are familiar with the term parts of speech, you might be knowing that there are 8 parts of speech. Uh, and we divide them into different classes. Okay, just a second. Okay, so here it is. We are Everybody is able to see my screen? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, you can see my screen. You can see the presentation.
Yes.
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay. So when we talk about parts of speech, the words are divided into different kinds of kinds or classes. Basically, they are divided into 8 groups. Okay. So in parts of speech also, there are 2 different classes known as open class words and closed class words. So why do we call them open class words and closed class words? We'll talk about it. First we'll talk about why do we call them parts of speech. So while speaking, each and every part that we are going to talk about, the things that we are going to discuss, we speak them, we make use of them while communicating, while having a conversation, and while in every mode of communication, either it's a written form, verbal form, non-verbal form, whatever it is, we are making use of these things, and therefore we call them parts of speech. So looking at the definition, the words are divided into different kinds of classes, and therefore they are known as parts of speech according to their use, that is according to the work they do in a sentence, whatever the role they are playing in a sentence, according to that they are known as parts of speech. Okay, so as I said that we use these sentences in our day to day lives, even while conversing with others in informal communication also, we are using these parts of speech. Okay, so there's no chance that you are not making use of these words, these things that we are going to talk about. Now let's move on to what these parts of speech are. So as I told you, generally they are divided into 8 categories, but there might be chances that some places you'll get 10, some places you'll get 9, some places you'll get 11, because you see determiners and articles, some grammarians, some of them, they regard them as different things, some of them include them in one category. Okay, so talking about the first class, nouns. A noun is the name of a person, place, thing, or idea. So first of all, I think that a few of you might feel that why we are talking about such basic things. It is because the syllabus that we have here in our university, you see, this all comprises of it. It has to be, I mean, your foundation should be strong to understand everything. And from the very first year, we prepare you for your jobs and your careers, and therefore we want your grammar to be strong, because in every competitive exam, wherever you appear for a competitive exam, you'll see that grammar plays a significant role. Okay, so for your competitives, you have to be prepared, and therefore we have the syllabus of that kind, and this is why we are talking about the basics, so that we can move on to the actual syllabus that we have been teaching in our university. Okay, so the first class that we are talking about is nouns. So a noun is the name of a person, place, thing, or idea. Okay. On the other hand, pronouns. What are pronouns? A pronoun takes the place of a noun in a sentence. Now, when we talk about pronouns are different from nouns, but they are addressing to the same thing. For example, if there's a subject in a sentence, then it can be a noun, it can be a pronoun too. Okay, so they might appear for the same functions, they might do the same thing in the sentence, but their classes are different. Nouns come from open class words, and pronouns comes from closed class words. Okay, then we come to verbs. A verb tells what action someone or something is doing, or expresses a state or of being. Okay, so the thing that whatever the state that thing is in, you'll convey it through the verb. Okay, either it's a relationship, you'll convey it through a verb. Okay, for example, when you access your social media websites, and there you see that if someone has sent you a request, you'll friend them, right? And when you you don't want to be friends with the same person, you'll unfriend them. So this particular word unfriend, until and unless Facebook came in existence, this word was not there. ठीक है, डिक्शनरी में there was no word like that. There was no word such as unfriend, but as Facebook came into existence, unfriend was added to the dictionary, and it became a verb. Okay, जिसको noun के साथ में आपने add किया, you have added unto the noun friend. Okay, so unfriend became a what did it become? It became a verb. Then moving on to adjectives. An adjective describes a noun or a pronoun. It tells what kind, how many, or which one. Okay, so adjective is again defining the speciality. Okay, as pronouns are defining nouns, or they are coming at the place of nouns, similarly adjectives are also connected to nouns, but then adjectives come in open class words. Okay, please keep noting down everything. If you are familiar with these terms, even then I'll suggest you to note down everything, so that you know your concepts are clear. Okay, then articles. The words a and the, we all know these three words are known as articles. But how many articles are there? If this question is asked to us, if the number is asked to us, what will we say? We'll say that there are two articles. One is indefinite and another one is definite. The words a and n are both regarded as one. Okay, the only thing that varies between these two is the vowel sound. Okay, then prepositions. A preposition describes a relationship. Okay, relationship between a noun or a pronoun and another word in the sentence. Okay, so what is a preposition? It also tells you the state. For example, the bottle is on the table. So you are telling where the bottle is. So
excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me, Neha, ma'am.
Yes.
Excuse me, Neha, ma'am. Can you make it large? Means by playing the slideshow
Yes,
near
sir.
to.
Yes, sir. Yes,
because
sir.
right now the size is small.
Sir, actually, I tried it earlier, but the slide was not showing. I was unable to present, so I thought that I was
near to this percentage sign. Yes.
Yes,
If
sir,
you
sir.
click.
Yes, sir. Yes,
okay.
sir. Yes, sir. Sure, sir. Okay. So
yes. Now it's okay. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Okay, so where were we? We were discussing prepositions. So as I gave you the example that when we talk about a state of something, when we are telling where the thing is, how the thing is, so we use prepositions. So in a same sentence, giving the same notion, we can use all these parts of speech. Okay, conjunctions join two different phrases, clauses, or sentences together. Okay, two or more. They can be two or more sentences, joined by conjunctions. There can be two or more clauses joined by a conjunction. Okay. When we talk about interjections, interjections are the words through which we express our feelings as it is. Okay. For example, oh. So O is an interjection. When we say, see something cute, when we experience something which is delightful to our vision, to our eyesight, then we say that it's all cute. So AWW exclamatory mark. That's interjection. Okay. Now, as we have talked about these parts of speech, I'll move further and we'll see in definition how these words are divided. Okay. So word classes fall into two categories: open classes and closed classes. Open classes really admit new members and therefore are by far the largest classes, because as I gave you an example of unfriending from the Facebook website, it's as I've told you, that it's a verb which has been added when Facebook came into existence. So similarly, there are different kind of words that are being added to these four categories. Now, when it comes to closed class words, there might be a change in the number, but for open classes, there will always be four categories. Only four categories: noun, adjective, adverb, and verbs. Okay. There are every day there are new constructions, new buildings are being built. So what happens? They are given new names. So the name that if a new building is built and it has been given a name, for example, Society of Thousand Flats is known as Galaxy City. So the particular place, Galaxy City, the name of the place, this particular term, Galaxy City, it becomes a new noun and it is being added to the category of nouns, right? Similarly, for verbs, as we have seen earlier, for adjectives also, if some new noun are coming into existence, then new specialities can come into existence. For example, earlier when there were no mobile phones, when people only used a landline, they didn't knew what is a memory card, what is a SIM. Okay. So now we can see that we have cell phones and we use the terms for storage, that it can support this much GB of memory card. This particular phone is good, this is bad. So we talk with the particular adjectives connected to the new devices. Okay. So similarly, adjectives can be new adjectives can be formed. And when adverb, what does adverb mean? How do you define adverb? Adverbs are the words which tell us about the places, manners, degrees. Okay. These tell us more about the verb. These are associated with verbs. Okay. So when verbs are new verbs are formed, new nouns are formed, of course new adverbs will be formed. Okay. So similarly, all these four classes work together in a connection. It's not like that if a open class word is there and closed class word is there, so only open class words can form a sentence. You'll need both classes words. If you want to form a correct sentence, then you'll always have both class of words. At least one from each category will be there, so that you have your correct and complete sentence. Okay. That a sentence that will be meaningful. Then we talk about closed classes. Closed classes, on the other hand, do not admit new members. They are very rigid. Let's say, as the name suggests, they are closed and they will not be open for the new members. Okay. So therefore, the number that there is, for example, if there are pronouns, so pronouns are it will be available in a particular number. They will be not exceeding. There will be no new pronoun that will be added to this category. Okay. So according to I mean, in regard to make you familiarize with each and every term, I have divided them in 7 categories. Most of the times, these are also divided in 4 categories only. Okay. When we talk about closed classes, class words, let's see here in the slide that how I have divided these closed class words in 7 categories. First is auxiliary. When we talk about auxiliaries are also verbs. I hope you are familiar with the term that there are 2 kinds of verbs. When it comes to functioning, there are 2 kinds of verbs. One is helping verb and one is main verb. So helping verb is known as auxiliary. Okay. So auxiliary verbs are is, am, are, okay, will, would, shall, should. These all are your auxiliary verbs, and these do not come into open class categories. We have noted verbs under open class category, but this particular category of verb, this subsection of verbs, auxiliaries, this will not come under open classes. Okay. Then we talk about conjunctions. Conjunctions are a few in number and they remain the same. There is no other conjunction added to this category. Okay. Similarly, prepositions, on, at, that, that is conjunction. So on, in, at, these all words will remain the same and there will be no change in this category. Similarly, determiners, similarly pronouns. So determiners are articles. Okay. Articles, articles come under this particular, articles are subsection of determiners. Then pronouns, okay, he, she, they, it, these all are pronouns and these will remain same. No new pronoun will be added. Numerals and interjections. As I talked, what are interjections? I think you are familiar with the terms that whatever expressions that we feel, if we express them in the same way, then these are known as interjections. Okay. Now moving on to our division in classes, we'll see how these all are divided. Okay. So open class words will remain only 4 and closed class word will have auxiliaries, conjunctions, prepositions, determiners, pronouns, numerals, interjections. Okay. Now parts of speech, we'll take this particular exercise with each example. Each will have one example and we'll see that how these function. Okay. We all know what is a noun, we all know what is a pronoun, but to revise and brush everything up, to sharpen everything up, we'll do this particular exercise. Okay. So, and at the end we have a quiz that I'll ask you people to answer. Okay. You may give your answers in your in the chat box. You may solve the questions. We'll discuss by each and every question. So with discussing this particular slide, I would like, if you have any kind of queries, you have any kind of confusion, please ask me. Okay. So noun is name of everything. Okay. State of being. She is good girl. So the girl here is noun. And on the other hand, she is, what is she? She is a pronoun. Okay. Is your auxiliary. Okay. Good is your adjective. Okay. Pronoun is used in a place of noun. Okay. They played cricket. So they here is pronoun. Played is, what is played? Played is your verb. Okay. Cricket is, what is cricket? Cricket is again noun. Okay. Verb then expresses an action or a state. I eat an ice cream. So I here is, what is I? I is pronoun. Eat is, what is eat? Eat is verb. An is your determiner. Determiner, and the subsection, it belongs to the subsection of determiner, articles. Okay. Ice cream is, what is ice cream? Ice cream is noun. Okay. Adverb, then we talk about add value to the verb. As I told you earlier that adverbs add value, or they define verbs, or they tell us where the verb took place. Okay, they are, adverbs are the words which tell us about the place, manners, degrees. Okay, so adverb adds value to the verb. So the sentence is she speaks loud. Okay, there's a mistake here. She speaks loudly. Okay, so she spoke loud or she speaks loudly. The sentence is incorrect. Okay, she here is pronoun. Okay, loud here is, it is telling us about the verb speak. So loud here is again adverb. Then we talk about adjective, describing word of noun. The parrot is green. Okay, so adjectives, we have been familiar with it, adjectives, and I remember my school days in my fourth or fifth standard. I remember that the best part of grammar was adjectives only, because everyone could recognize them. Okay, because teacher would appreciate us and will use the adjectives for us. So therefore, we liked this particular part of grammar. Uh, as we talk about adjectives, the parrot is green. So green here defines how the parrot is. Okay, what color is the parrot of? So therefore, green here is adjective. So whenever you talk about these words, these parts of speeches, then how will you know that which part it is? For example, you are not sure, but look at the function that it is playing. Okay, if for example, till now we have discussed 5 sentences till now. Okay, in this particular slide. So I have told you about each and every word in the sentence, that what word is it and what function is it playing. So similarly, you will have to evaluate it. Earlier, when in your school days, in your childhood, when you learned grammar, you were not doing it in the same way. You were only given the definitions, and you knew these particular words are adjectives, nouns, pronouns, verbs, or whatever. Okay, but now what you have to do, you'll have to look at the sentence. You'll see what particular function a word is playing, and then you'll see the connectivity between words, and then you'll define how the particular word is noun. Okay, why is it noun? Okay, for example, when we will proceed in our further classes, when we'll talk about other things like basic sentence patterns and everything, then we'll talk about subject, verbs, object, complement, and adverbial. These are 5 elements of your sentence, which are essential in your sentence. Okay, it's not like they all 5 of them will occur at the same time, but these are 5 essential elements of your sentence. So therefore, you for the further reference, you need to read everything in connection to each other. Okay, so when you are looking at a sentence from now on, whenever you are reading a newspaper, reading a book, watching a movie, you look at the sentence in this particular form only. Okay, you'll see the connectivity between the words. Okay, then only you can improve your grammar and English in particular. Okay, now coming to the 6th portion, preposition. Show relation with noun and pronoun. What does preposition do? These show relation either to the noun or to the pronoun. Okay, then the sentence here is the book is on the table. As I gave you the example that the bottle is on the table. So on is defining where the bottle is. The state of bottle is being told by on. Okay, on is giving us, for example, if the sentence would have been like that, the book is under the table. So book is lying under the table. Okay, the state is changed, the book is not at the same place, and therefore prepositions are also important. So as I told you, there is no way that you can create a sentence, you can form a sentence with only one class of words. You'll have to use both the classes of words. Of course, when we talk according to syntax and everything, uh, is difficult for you to understand and to comprehend. But as you have been doing till now, as you have been forming sentences till now, you'll have to just look at it, that how I form this particular sentence. Okay, if you will be in the habit of evaluating your own writing, in evaluating your own answer, in evaluating your own sentences, then only it will all be very easy for you to understand. Otherwise you'll face difficulties to cope up with everything that future has for you. Okay, each and every competitive exam has a very complex syllabus, and therefore we intend to prepare you from the very first semester of yours in college. So in order to achieve each and every goal, you'll have to be practicing everything. If you'll practice for 5 minutes, just for 5 minutes every day, your grammar and English will be well and good. Okay, so now seventh point, conjunction. Conjunctions are the two words which join sentences, phrases, clauses. Okay, what are phrases and clauses? We'll discuss in our next class. But for now, these are hierarchical units. When we see the structure of language, then the hierarchy comes. Okay, first of all, it's a morpheme, then it's a word, then it's a phrase, then it's a clause, and then it's a sentence. So sentence is the highest unit of written language. Okay, so what does conjunction do? Either it joins two parts, either it's a sentence or a phrase. If it's joining a sentence and a phrase, then what will it be called? The conjunction will be subordinating conjunction, and the sentence formed, the outcome that will come, that particular resulted sentence will be known as complex sentence. Okay, similarly, not going into detail, but I'll just let you know about conjunctions so that we can move on further. And if you don't know about it, please read it before you come to the class, so that it is you can grasp everything easily. If we wash a cloth, before washing it we sink it in water. So therefore, if you want to wash your brain and you have to absorb new knowledge, what you'll do, you'll practice it before coming to the class. Okay, so when we talk about conjunctions, as I told you, if it's joining two parts of unequal rank, for example, if it's a sentence and a phrase, or a sentence and a clause, then what will happen? It will be a complex sentence. A complex sentence will be formed with the help of the conjunction, and the conjunction will be subordinating conjunction. On the other hand, if the two things are of equal rank, for example, the two are dependent clauses, independent clauses both, or the two are sentences, then both the things of equal rank will be joined by a coordinating conjunction, and the sentence formed after it will be compound sentence. Okay, so enough about conjunctions, and not to confuse you more, we'll talk about interjection. So interjections express emotions, feelings, and everything that you express as it is. Okay, for example, I gave you the example, when you see something, you feel that this particular thing is cute, you reply it as AWW, that's awe. Okay, so that's another awe. And when we it's an archaic word. It's a very old word from Old English. When we talk about Old English, we say archaic. Okay, so it's an archaic word, alas, but it also is a interjection, and we have been using it till now in our sentences. Okay, alas means when we hear a sad news, we make use of the word alas. Okay, what is alas? Alas is interjection. Okay, so this is what I was intending to discuss with you till now, that we have these particular parts of speeches. And now I'm going to give you the quiz, and we'll discuss it in within the class. And I would like everyone to come up with queries if they have any, or otherwise please solve this particular quiz, so that we can see that you have learned something from this class. Okay, so begin with the quiz, and everyone can reply in the chat box, or if you have the answer right now, you can tell me by unmuting yourself. Please speak up. So the first question is, you here what you have to do is you have to choose the category that the particular highlighted word that has been included here. So you'll have to answer how this particular word is a noun, what function is it playing, in the same manner that we have done and discussed till now. So the first sentence is, I always go to the park on the weekends. So what is park here? Is it a noun? Is it a verb or an adjective? Anyone, please?
It's noun.
It's a noun. Very good. And what role is it playing? Is it connected to something? Are there other words that are telling about the park noun park? You say that it's a noun, and it is park. Okay, so the noun park, is it associated with some other words? For example, till now we have discussed how prepositions or the articles or determiners are working with the nouns. So are there anything related to this noun here in this
Yeah,
sentence?
yes, there's on, which is preposition. Related with the preposition that park is.
I mean, I'm asking for the park. You see, on the weekends is related to the noun I. Okay, I is giving us information that I always go to the park on the weekends. Okay, so I included this particular exercise or quiz so that we can discuss and see how you evaluate the sentences. You see, your answer is correct, that park is noun here. Okay, but your second answer is incorrect. I always go to the park. So to the park. Okay, these are associated with park. The park means that he or she is talking about, the subject is talking about a specific park. Okay, and the here is determiner. It's an article. So determiners, a section determiner, then the subsection article, and in article we have the definite article the used with the noun park. Okay, so similarly, please evaluate the other sentences. The second sentence is, on cold winter days, I love to have a cup of hot chocolate. So what is cold here? Can anyone tell me? What is cold here? Are you able to hear me? Is everyone able to hear me? Okay. Okay, I forgot to look at this particular chat box of yours. Okay, so who has the first answer of second question? Divya. Very good, Divya. It's a
Adverb.
no, it's not an adverb. Sorry, Divya. It's an adjective.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. The next one is fourth one is adverb, and I misunderstood it with it. Okay, so second one is the next. Who has replied adjective? Kingshuk. Okay, adjective. Okay, only Kingshuk has replied that it's an adjective. Yes, very good. It's an adjective. How is it an adjective? We are talking about how what kind of winter days are they? Okay, so adjective, what does adjective do? It tells the speciality of the noun. Okay, as we talked earlier, that an adjective will always give you some additional information, some speciality of the noun. Okay, so winter days are noun. Okay, so the adjective cold is referring to winter days, and therefore it's an adjective. How many hot dogs did your friend eat yesterday? What is eat? We have done eat in our previous exercise also. Eat is a verb. Okay. Again, fourth sentence, Roger Bannister finished the mile race very quickly in 1954. So, what is quickly here? I've given you the answer just a few seconds before. What is quickly here? Please reply while speaking. Use your microphones, please. Reply.
It's adjective.
Quickly is an adjective. No. Now, why it is not an adjective? You have to remember this particular trick that is there in grammar, that if a word, if a verb or a word is added with ly, most of the time, usually it will be an adverb. Okay, whenever there's ly in at the end of the word, you will check that it will 90% of the time it will be adverb. So here it is an adverb. How it is an adverb? We'll talk about it. Roger Bannister finished the mile race very quickly in 1994. So how the manner it is telling the manner of the verb. He finished. Roger Bannister finished. So finished and quickly are associated to each other. They are in connection with each other, and quickly is telling about the verb finished. Okay, so it's an adverb here. If it would have been an adjective, the ly will be reduced. Okay, quick, if you see a word quick, then it's an adjective. Okay, coming to the fifth sentence, her father flies to many countries in the world because he is a pilot. So father here is
Noun.
noun. Okay, so father here is noun. My let's say what is flies here? Her father flies. So flies, the third word in fifth sentence. What is flies here? Is it a noun, verb, or an adjective?
Verb.
Verb, yes. My sister is very smart. She got an A plus on all of her tests. Sixth sentence. What is smart here?
Adjective.
Very good. What's your name, dear?
Aniket, ma'am.
Okay. Very good, Aniket. Anybody else would like to reply on the seventh one? Western Australia is the largest state in Australia. So here, what is state? What is state?
Noun.
Noun. Yes. July is my favorite month of the year. What is favorite here? What is favorite here?
Adjective.
Very good. It's an adjective. So are you all solving these questions? We come to the ninth one. Stuart can speak Arabic very well because he lived in Egypt for an year. Okay, so well here is very. We all know very is an adjective. Okay, it occurred in our sixth sentence also before smart, very smart. Okay, very well here again in ninth sentence we have very before an adjective. Okay, I don't think it was a difficult test. In fact, I think it was quite easy. If you know all your nouns, adjectives, verbs, adverbs, etc., this particular test will also be easy for you. Okay. So what's easy here in the 10th sentence?
Adjective.
Anybody else?
Adverb.
Anyone else? Only
Adjective.
yes. I hope everyone is listening to me and you are doing the exercise. I'm just asking you so that I know that you have been hearing what I've been telling you. You have been listening to it carefully, what have been done in the class. So 10th question, 10th sentence, what is the answer? What is easy here?
Adjective, ma'am.
Yes, it's an adjective there. I know, but only you were replying, so I was trying to indulge everyone else. Okay, so 11th sentence, dinosaurs were very large and they lived millions of years ago. Years here is, years here is, what is years here?
Noun.
Years is noun here, right? Then we talk about the 11th, 12th sentence. Those flowers are very beautiful. How much do they cost? So in this particular sentence, there are two adjectives. What are they? In 12th sentence, there are two adjectives. Sorry, three adjectives. Please tell what are these three adjectives. Those flowers are very beautiful. How much do they cost? Rijwan, which question are you, which sentence are you talking about? Divya, Rijwan. Please mention the questions with your answers. Okay, so here very is adjective, beautiful is adjective, and much is also adjective. Okay, because these all are telling you something special. They are either asking or telling you something special about the noun. When we talk about the 13th sentence, I usually study in the library for an hour after class. So, first of all, before discussing about this sentence, I would like to tell you one thing, that when we talk about these particular words generally or usually, there are two different notions. Okay, first is when we talk about usually means that it's in habit. Okay, it happens like that. It has been it is used to happen like that. Okay, when we talk about generally, we are talking about the generalization throughout the world. Okay, or throughout our particular target population. Okay, when we talk about anything, when we use generally, then we are talking about something that has been accepted all over. But usually means that it happens in this way. Okay, so these two words are different. When I'll say that usually a and an are regarded as one article, that means that it is accepted like that. When I'll say generally, okay, when I'll say generally about something, for example, generally these shops of these kind will close till 10 p.m. Okay, so when I say generally means in day-to-day life, which has been an habit, which has been accepted in our particular target population or target society. Target means the place, particular place we are talking about. So target society or target population, wherever we are talking about, if you make use of the word general, then it means that it is being accepted in this way. Okay, usually means that it is used in this way. Okay, it is a habit to use this particular thing in that way. Okay, so coming back to the 13th sentence, I usually study in the library for an hour after class. So usually here is, what is usually here? What is usually here? Please reply by using your microphones.
It's an adverb.
Adverb.
Yes, it's an adverb. And did you use this particular trick of thinking of a word? If it is, it ends with ly, then it is an adverb. See, in the next sentence also, slowly is, what is slowly? What is slowly?
Adverb.
So it's an adverb. When we talk about any word which ends with ly, 90% of the time, okay, I don't have to use 90%. Now I can make use of the terms usually. So usually, if a sentence is ending with ly, then it will be an adverb. Okay. Now, 15th sentence. Please remember to finish your homework. So homework here is, what is homework? What is homework? Homework is a noun. Okay, do not get confused. Do not think of it because we are doing homework. So the verb is used with it. Okay, it is noun. You are doing homework. So doing here is the verb and homework will remain noun. Okay, now the 16th sentence. What language do most people speak in Brazil? So speak is verb. Okay.
Art.
Okay, and now coming back to how these particular classes work, we'll talk a bit more about the open class words. You see, nouns have different categories, right? And I've told you, as new things are invented, new things are made, new cities are formed. Okay, so similarly, the nouns will keep on adding. The category of noun will keep on adding new words. Okay, it has its doors open for new words. But when we talk about verbs, how does it happen? When we talk about verbs, how does it happen? When we talk of open class words, we'll see that the new words are formed, and each of these four categories, noun, verb, adjective, and adverb, will take new words. But for when we look at this particular section of verbs, it is very complex to understand that how verbs are in open class. Firstly, verbs have three forms. Okay, we have been reading since our childhood that there are three forms of verbs. Okay, first, second, third forms. Okay, so whenever a verb is used, it is used in context with the nouns. Okay, so in relation with the person, number, and gender, the verbs change and their forms change in a sentence. That's how we learn in tenses. When we talk about tenses, we read that verbs change. Okay, here in simple present tense, we'll use the first form of verb. When we talk about past participle form of tense, then verb will be used in its third form or in its participle form. So therefore, as because verbs keep on changing in each and every sentence in relation to the context of what kind of number is used, what kind of gender is used. So therefore, these are included in open class. Okay, there might be not many verbs invented every day. Okay, there is not much more possibility of adding verbs every day. But because verbs keep on changing, because they take a lot many states, they take too many forms, they change according to the agreements, their agreement with the noun, their agreement with the uh, uh, their agreement with the number, their agreement with the gender, and they keep on changing, and therefore they are included in open class words. Okay. Then when we talk about adjectives, again, adjectives are as I told you earlier, that if something is, for example, China has built a air purifier. Okay, world's largest air purifier is in China. So now, what is the adjective? There might be some function that this air purifier will must have been performing. There might be a particular machinery in it that we do not knew till now, and we were not familiar with it till now. But as it has been invented, the machinery has come into existence. The functions have come into existence, and therefore we will use different kind of adjectives for it. Okay. Similarly, for adverbs, when verbs are changing, adverbs are also changing. Okay. When an adverb is included in a sentence, it is, but of course, it will be always associated with the verb. So this is how you divide your parts of speech. Most of the places where you look into this particular topic, either it's a grammar book, either it's a website, online website, or YouTube tutorials. Wherever you'll see that most of the instructors are dividing them into 8 categories. But for for only closed class words, we have 7 categories. So this is just to make you make your basics much more clear about the facts that how these words are included and why these words are included. Okay. For example, if you want, you can eliminate interjections. Okay, because interjections are not that much used. We all know that they are a closed group of class. Okay. Then when we talk about auxiliaries are 11 in number. Okay. 11 auxiliaries are there. As I told you earlier, that one is main verb, one is helping verb. So when we talk about auxiliaries, and there are also 2 categories in auxiliaries. One is a primary auxiliary, and second is secondary auxiliary. So in primary auxiliary, you have 11 words. In secondary auxiliary, you have modals, which are 13 in number. Okay, where we study will, would, shall, should, can, could, may, might. Okay, these are models. So when we talk about verb in particular, then verb means the words, the actions itself, not the supporting words. Auxiliaries or helping verbs are supporting the main action. Okay. So therefore, they are known as helping verb because they are helping the main verb. So when we talk about auxiliaries, they fall in the category of closed class of words. Okay. So I hope you have taken something, you have gained some knowledge from my class, and please practice, as I've told you. Please evaluate your own sentences and try to find out how a particular word is associated with the other words in the sentence. Okay. If you study about the functions, if you look into the functions, you can never be incorrect while evaluating any grammar quiz. Okay. Either it comes to active passive voice, or reported speech, where you study direct, indirect, or tenses in particular. Tenses are very complex, and tense is a very difficult topic. Each one of us is afraid of it. But tenses are as easy as any other thing in grammar. You just have to evaluate your own sentences while forming them, and you have to connect each and every word. For example, if you have a preposition, you will see which particular noun. There might be a possibility that the sentence has 2 nouns, 3 nouns, 4 nouns, but to which particular noun is the preposition referring, we have to keep in mind about it. Okay, for example, Neha said the bottle is on the table. So on here is a preposition, and which noun is it referring? You have 3 nouns here: table, bottle, and Neha. You have 3 nouns in this sentence. So how will you talk about it? See to what function is it the preposition is referring to, and how it is referring to the noun bottle. So you'll have to associate it and evaluate it, and then you'll see that on is only if you have faced some difficulty, you can break the sentence into parts. Okay, until now, when it comes to tenses, I don't think so that I have in my particular course in my syllabus that I teach tenses. But to give you a brief guidance about it, is that when till now you are familiar with the rules of English, a little bit of the vocabulary is there with you. The only thing that you need to do now is to evaluate your own sentences. Once you evaluate them, you'll know if I am right or wrong. If I'm writing in an essay in present tense, then I'll always continue with the present tense. Okay, I'll not change the tenses within the essay. Okay, this is how we write essays. So similarly, when you take your own written piece, the piece you are writing, any answers, any grammar exercises, writing skills exercises, if you are evaluating your own exercises, your own answers, then you will be able to build a better grammatical better grammar, better grammatical functions will be there in your the sentences, and you'll be able to evaluate each and everything. So because this was the introductory class, and we had to start from the scratch, so we have touched each and every word that we might use in our language. Okay, each and every part of our written language, spoken language, we have included it. Now what we are going to do, we are going to move forward on the base of these. Okay, that we have an understanding of these particular words, and now we are going to move further. Okay, so thank you everyone. I hope you have were able to understand what I have told you, what I have talked about, and the quiz was also a little bit of a interesting task for you. So we'll meet on next Tuesday. Let's see what you have gained. We'll revise it in the next class. So please, if you have taken notes, as I've told you earlier, if you have taken the notes and everything, please go through them before coming to the next class. Thank you so much.
Okay, students, thank you. Thank you very much, students.
Yes, Vivek sir, now we can leave the meeting.